Welcome back, y'all. Guys, I was going to tell you about changing the headlights. I decided that the old seal beams were too weak, so I went up to the H4 style. But beware if you buy cheap headlights. These are octane, which I wouldn't recommend, but they were cheap. I think about $30. I put them in and I had to notch out the mount to get the octane lighting logo level, and when you'd put on the brights they would go up to the right, which I didn't want to turn the lights more to the left to get them to come straight up. So I got to looking, and if you get these and notice up here where the thing that holds the shield in front of the bulb is not straight up or straight down, it's over to the side. So to cure that, I bent the tabs on the bulb where I could turn the bulb, because the filaments are directly one above the other. If you turn them, then the lights go different directions. They should be straight up and down. So I bent the little tabs where I could turn it. So much for that. Speaking of lights, where's my turnaround button at? I'm going to pause this for a second and turn around. I'll have to piece this together, I'm sure, but these little lights I put on the front didn't come with any brackets, but I got them for $10 for the pair, and I made a little stainless steel bracket, and the one on the other side came as a set, and then I put this one on a little later. And the wiring harness I got at Walmart runs from that light connected to the center light to this light, and runs up all the way to the battery. Comes with a fuse and a relay, which these things don't pull that much. Really didn't need the relay. Runs all the way over to the side where there's a plug you can stick through the firewall, and then it comes with a rocker switch that lights up when it's on. Also, I was going to talk about the tow hooks. Got a pair of those, and if you notice, there's a little spacer between them to clear the bumper, and that's 3/8 of an inch thick. You could use washers, but I thought I'd make a little plate. I had some steel. I got them in Harbor Freight, about $10 a piece, minus the coupon. All you have to do is put longer bolts. I put in grade 8 bolts. The bolting pattern is a perfect match. So I put one on each side and installed a plug for the jumper cables to plug into. Run the wires down the back, notched out the plastic, and I put them up, used some stainless steel bolts, and I put some washers under it so I could space it up to put the cover on. And the wiring is I bought from Rural King, which is our tractor supply store or farm supply store. They had some 16-foot 4-gauge jumper cables, and I cut off almost 3 feet to go up to the battery. Well, if you can see down here, the gray, I think that's Carlon Seal Tight, which I was in the heating and air conditioning business, had some of that left over. I didn't want that too short out because those jumper cables have kind of a thin coating. Probably could have used welding cable, but that stuff's expensive. And I had this. Those jumper cables were, I think, like $11, and they had some number 2 20-footers were only $17. But I bought a battery from them earlier in the year, and you can get them with reverse or normal posts, and they have the front side hookups where I just hook those cables onto the side, and I put the other end cable on the jumper cables, and I can just plug right in without having to open the hood. Of course, after I got it, I put in spark plugs and a new serpentine belt. It had 130,000 miles, and I put on a new steering what do you call the shock absorber steering stabilizer. That was only about $30. You know, just a little this and a little that. And I was losing water for some reason. Overheated one day and replaced the radiator cap. And had that problem anymore. And you'll notice horns on both sides. And the original was this squeaky little Bosch original horn. You don't need little cars shouldn't have a little horn, because when you go tweet, then they just run over you because they know you're small. But anyway, so you put the big horns on there and scare them. My wife had a Focus, and it had one of those little toot toot, and I put some horns like this, and when somebody does something, you blow the horn, they know you're there. Well, let's see, I replaced the valve cover gasket, and the oil pan gasket had a little leak, and that was a little bit of a job, but got her done. Something that people talk about, a hood lock. The easiest method, I'm going to pause for a second, put the hood down so you can see it. Now if you want a very, very low cost hood lock, what I did, I had a U-bolt. Oops, wrong way. Anyway, I had a U-bolt laying around, and I got to looking at that, so I drilled a hole in the hood, put a big washer and a smaller washer and a lock nut on the back. I welded the two things together so you couldn't pry it apart, and then where the hood comes down, it's this spot right here. I drilled a couple of holes, got that all adjusted, and when it goes down, you just hang a little padlock on there, and let me show you what I did to that. It was Brinks that I got at Walmart. Put a little piece of vinyl tubing to keep it from rocking and squeaking, a little bit of sponge rubber and some electrical tape. And you know how electrical tape comes apart, so I put a little super glue under there. You just lock that on there, and when you want to open it, you stick your arm in the slot, and with the key in your hand, and take the lock off, and works great. 2004, and it literally it was noisy. So what I did is I sprayed it, take just the front to start. I took the carpet out and sprayed it with bed liner, which is just thick paint. And I went to the trim shop, bought some jute, which is not really real thick, put that down. I tell you what, just doing the front took out 80% of the noise, believe it or not. And these floor mats that I had out of a truck that I had were from Sam's, and they are heavy duty and trimmable, so I did that, and they're great. Catch all the slop and mud or rain. Now if you can see these switches that I put in for the red one came with the wiring harness. The other three I ordered. The red one's for the front lights. I got some rear lights. And that's about all the interior stuff. Just pretty well normal otherwise. And I had the noise from the tires. The guy that I got it from put these tires on there. They're 31 by 10.5, which I had to change the speedo gear. And found a hardtop for it. But anyway, I'm going to end this video here. I'll get into on maybe one of the next ones the trailer hitch, and show how I mounted it, made it, what I made it out of, and the carrier that I built that goes in it, and maybe a few other things. But goodbye for now. Thank you for watching.